Today's video is about development of placenta. But before placenta, you should know about implantation, decidua, all these things. So see that. So this is the ampulla of the fallopian tube, and you know that in this ampulla of fallopian tube, fertilization of this egg is done. Then through the cleavage process, see that. So here multiple divisions occur, and finally the end result of the cleavage process is the morula. That this F structure, this is the morula. See that? So this is the morula and this is 16 cell stage, and see that when that same morula reaches the uterus, then the uterine fluid enters inside this morula, and as a result you can see that this morula is converted into blastocyst because that here it contains a cavity blastocell, and as a result all this inner cell mass gets shifted to one side of the trophoblast. So this is blastocyst. So therefore that so when the morula reaches the uterus, then uterine fluid accumulates in the morula. As a result, the inner cell mass gets attached to trophoblast on one side only, and a large cavity called blastocell form, and now the morula is known as blastocyst. So see that this is the blastocyst, and before the attachment of blastocyst to uterine columnar epithelium, as you already know that the zona pellucida disappears. Now as soon as the blastocyst attached to uterine columnar epithelium, implantation process, so here implantation process begins now. So here and see that, and through the implantation process, that this whole blastocyst causes penetration inside the uterine endothelium, and finally you can see that the whole portion of blastocyst lies inside the endometrial stroma, and this is the main concept of implantation. So see, I have written that the process of attachment of blastocyst to uterine endometrium and penetration of blastocyst, so that the whole portion of blastocyst lies within the endometrial stroma, and that process is known as implantation. And now see that during the process of implantation, see that when some portion of the blastocyst enters inside the endometrial stroma, then a reaction occurs, and that reaction stimulates all the endometrial stromal cells to secrete nutrition for the developing embryo or for the blastocyst, and that reaction is the decidual reaction. So see that, so before decidual reaction, that these endometrial stromal cells, they are not modified to secrete nutrition for developing embryo, but see that through the decidual reaction, that all the endometrial stromal cells, they are secreting nutrition like glycogen and lipids for the developing embryo or for the blastocyst, and that reaction is known as the decidual reaction. C. The reaction through the endometrial stromal cells become modified to secrete glycogen, lipids or nutritive materials to the blastocyst, and that reaction is known as decidual reaction. And the modified endometrial stromal cells, they are known as decidua. Now see that further, so when the whole developing embryo completely enters, then then all the decidua cells, they are attached around the developing embryo, and as a result, that is a layer formed around the developing embryo or around the blastocyst, and that is known as, so here, decidua. The nutritive layer formed around the developing embryo by decidual cells, and that nutritive layer is known as decidua. So therefore, as you have understood implantation and decidua, and the main concept of decidual reaction is that all the endometrial stromal cells should be modified to secrete glycogen, lipids, proteins for the developing embryo or for the blastocyst until the placenta formation takes place. This is the main concept of decidua and decidual reaction. Now I want to discuss about the subdivisions of decidua. So once again I am going to tell you that this is the whole developing embryo, that this blue color layer is a trophoblast, and this is the chorion. So this is a chorionic cavity, and here these are the bilaminar germ disc, amniotic cavity and yolk sac. These are all the parts of developing embryo. Now here, and this is the layer which is surrounding the developing embryo is the, so here decidua. Now, so first of all I will discuss what is Decidua Capsularis. So see that, so this is the uterine lumen, and this, so here decidua which is separating this developing embryo or a blastocyst from the uterine lumen is known as Decidua Capsularis. So what is Decidua Capsularis? The layer of decidua that separates this whole developing embryo from the uterine lumen is known as Decidua Capsularis. So see, the decidua separating the developing embryo from the uterine lumen, and that decidua is known as Decidua Capsularis. Now I am going to explain what is Decidua Basalis. So see that, so this is the developing embryo and this is a uterine lumen. So as I have already mentioned, what is Decidua Capsularis? So the Decidua Capsularis separates this developing embryo from the uterine lumen. So this is the green colored layer is a Decidua Capsularis. Now see that this layer of decidua lies deep with respect to this developing embryo, and that layer of decidua that lies deep with respect to developing embryo is known as Decidua Basalis. So now in this diagram, if I want to mention, that is violet or a purple colored layer is the, so here Decidua Basalis. So I have mentioned Decidua Basalis and Decidua Capsularis, and the remaining portion of decidua other than Decidua Basalis and Decidua Capsularis is known as Decidua Parietalis. So see the definition of decidua, that the decidua that lies deep to the developing blastocyst, and this is known as Decidua Basalis. And now see that since in future, if you can see, since in future that from this Decidua Basalis, that is maternal blood vessels will enter in order to provide nutrition to the developing embryo. So therefore that I written that since through Decidua Basalis the maternal blood vessels will enter in future, so therefore that this Decidua Basalis will lead to the formation of the maternal part of placenta. This is very important. So now let's discuss about chorionic villi. So as I have already mentioned that that this purple colored layer is the Decidua Basalis and this green colored layer is a Decidua Capsularis. And here, and this is a Decidua Parietalis. And now see that initially that there are no villi around the trophoblast, but now see that this blue colored layer, that this is a trophoblast. Now around the trophoblast, so here all the villi form, see. So therefore, and these villi they make contact with the Decidua Basalis as well as they make contact with the Decidua, so here Capsularis, and the villi that are growing around the trophoblast, and that villi are known as chorionic villi. So see that villi growing around the trophoblast called chorionic villi. So see that now slowly now here initially all the villi that grew around us, so here that is, so that made in contact with the Decidua Capsularis that disappear, and only the chorionic villi that made in contact with the, so here Decidua Basalis they so here survive and they maintain their vascularity, and they so here grow further. As a result, that this chorionic villi now they are converted into that is chorionic fontanosome. Now, so therefore that I have written that the chorionic villi in Decidua Capsularis disappear, whereas the chorionic villi associated with Decidua Basalis only retain their vascularity, undergo development to form a structure called chorionic fontanosome. Now here one very important part is that now since from this part, that is from this chorionic fontanosome, basically the blood vessels that is which have to provide nutrition to developing embryo and which have to remove waste material products from a developing embryo will develop. So these are the blood vessels which are going to provide nutrition to developing embryo in future and which are going to remove away waste materials from the developing embryo in future. So therefore that this chorionic fontanosome will do the So here formation of fetal part of the placenta. So therefore that I have written that. So here since in future from the chorionic frontonosome blood vessels will enter in order to provide nutrition to the developing embryo. So therefore that this chorionic frontonosome will lead to a development of the fetal part of the placenta. So these are the two very important parts, that chorionic frontonosome will do the formation of fetal part of placenta, and this Decidua Basalis will do the formation of maternal part of placenta. So if you want to know that is Decidua Basalis and what is Decidua Basalis, so this is the Decidua Basalis and this Decidua Basalis. So here lies deep. So here lies deep with respect to developing embryo, and from this Decidua Basalis, so here that is maternal blood vessels will enter. And here what are chorionic frontonosome? Basically chorionic villi that grow around the Decidua Basalis, and from this Decidua Basalis, so here blood vessels in order to supply nutrition to developing embryo will come, and also blood vessels which have to remove waste products from a developing embryo will go out. So therefore these are the chorionic frontonosome. So these are the two very important parts that I want to mention today. So that's all about this video, and for further development of placenta, so please stay tuned and please subscribe the channel.